You take a stand, helping others hand by hand, making sure you pave the way, assuring no one goes astray. Taking risks are your routine, saving the day like a Marine. Others follow the legacy you leave because they know how much you achieve. Doing your best to lead because you know it's your good deed. You are always looked upon, whether it's morning or dawn. You are the point guard of your team, the quarterback of your team, the sugar of your ice cream, the brain of your dream. No matter what, people will follow you because you'll be there to the rescue. You're the wings of a dove, lifting up needy with care and love. You're the chief of your tribe, making sure you spread a positive vibe. Being a leader is a natural state, and it is something that surely won't dissipate. You are the conductor of a railroad, as well as picking up the heavy load. Helping others helps others and you, and this is what you always do. But the best part is, you inspire those who have the desire to aspire. Unite people even if it is hard, making sure no one is off guard. Leadership takes bravery, something good or bad, but savory. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks, Angela Davis, Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, Serena Williams, Maya Angelou, Ida B. Wells, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, W. Du Bois, Shirley Chisholm, James Baldwin, and so much more. Changing history may sound like a mystery, but people are waiting for someone accelerating. Thank you.
Thank you, Simi, for that uplifting reflection on leadership. We have no doubt that you are well on your way to joining that list of inspirational leaders of the past who've inspired you. That you are in the 8th grade inspires me. We are all in need of your leadership, and we'll be waiting for you with great anticipation. Good evening. My name is John Green. For 34 years, I enjoyed the privilege of being on the faculty at 3 of our nation's most reputable boarding schools, including the last 12 years as the head of one of them. It was there where I first met TEAK fellows. Even then, I was particularly impressed. And as a result of my experience, by the way, I have a pretty keen sense of what excellence, motivation, drive, and character look like. I was also always impressed with TEAK staff, their presence, availability, and devotion to their students. TEAK was distinctive and different. So I readily accepted the board's offer to become TEAK's 3rd executive director, a role in which I have joyfully served now for nearly 4 years. In fact, I have found working at TEAK a privilege too, only in this case, the privilege of a lifetime. As executive director, I welcome you to our 20th anniversary gala, at which we will honor our extraordinary founder, Justine Stamen Arrillaga, and her decision and subsequent determination to establish our fellowship 2 decades ago. We will also celebrate Justine's vision and the impact it's had on TEAK fellows such as Simi, TEAK families, and TEAK alumni, who, in part as a result of their TEAK experience, are uniquely positioned to provide inclusive, just, and ethical leadership. We could use some of that. You see, since 1998, Justine, TEAK, and you have already transformed hundreds of lives, altered the trajectory of families and for generations, and lifted entire communities. Congratulations. On behalf of our dedicated staff, students, and families, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Mark Becker and our board of directors, our past directors, our next generation board, our sponsors, our benefactors, our gift bag donors, and especially all 500 of you who've taken the time out of your busy lives to be with us in fellowship. I also want to offer a special thanks on our collective behalf to our Deputy Director of External Relations, Wendy Sloan, and our Associate Director of Development, Tara Reed, without whom this gathering simply would not have been possible. Tomorrow morning, I'm sure, Wendy and Tara will be relieved to reclaim even a small piece of their lives. Lastly, I want to thank TEAK parents and guardians, few of whom will be with us tonight. You should know that many of our parents put their own personal dreams on hold, and all made sacrifices too numerous to count to make certain that their son or daughter could dream. Dream, that's all. And to have at least a fighting chance to see that dream through to fruition. As a result of their own talents and determination, first and foremost, but thanks also to Justine, TEAK, and you too, TEAK fellows are proving to me that dreams can in fact come true. You noted, I trust, that it was Simi and not I who kicked off the Gala. As any old, memorable teacher would, TEAK has chosen to show you more than tell you whom we are honoring, why we are proud of our past success, the impact TEAK and you are having on so many, and what we have in mind for the future. I hope you will enjoy the variety. Without further ado, therefore, I want to introduce to you yet another TEAK Fellow and an alumnus, Bradley Weeks, who will serve as our MC this evening. Brad.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the TEAK Fellowship's 20th Anniversary Gala. My name is Brad Weeks, and I've had the utmost privilege of calling myself a TEAK Fellow for the last 10 years. As a proud member of TEAK's Class 10, I was surrounded by an array of like-minded middle school students who, despite various financial obstacles and hurdles, were instilled with a never-ending amount of resilience and tenacity to never quit and to become the architects of their own future. The truth is, my class is not the outlier, but part of the norm of what makes a TEAK Fellow so unique. We are students from across New York City striving towards greatness and never letting the odds or statistics define us or our journey. It is that fundamental core value that lives in every fellow who's been a part of this program for now 20 long years. That's why we're here tonight, to celebrate not only the legacy of this life-changing program, but an ever-bright future. You heard a lot of facts and figures throughout the night, but it's the students and the stories that are the true measure of this fellowship's success. I applied to TEAK Fellowship when I was an awkward, gawky 12-year-old. I'm a little less awkward now. And I remember that my family and I were so overjoyed when I was accepted to the TEAK Fellowship. The years that I spent preparing and putting in the extra hours at the TEAK office was some of the toughest, but yet the most rewarding times I've ever had. I was lucky enough to be supported by incredibly loving parents, incredible fellows, dedicated TEAK staff, and my incredible mentor, Brad Toppins. I was able to receive an amazing education at St. Anne's School in Brooklyn Heights, and eventually went to Brown University on a scholarship. I and all other current and past fellows know that we are so very lucky, and none of this would have been possible without the TEAK Fellowship.
From a very young age, I wanted to be an architect. It was just a dream to me. I didn't really see it as accomplishable. But then once I joined TEAK, I was like, this could be a thing for me. So my parents immigrated here from Ecuador. My dad came here first out of my family. I have a brother who immigrated here when he was really young. And then my mom came over. So right now I'm 13 and I'm starting the high school process. And I'm thinking about going to Hotchkiss, Masters, or any 40 school. I would never think about going to 40 school ever. It was not even like a glimpse of that. But as soon as I joined TEAK, I was like, this is like crazy. In the bodega right next to my house, Sal, who owns it, took a picture when he initially opened up of all the kids in the neighborhood so they could like look back on each other when they were younger and also aspire to be more than what they once were.
How's everything going for school?
Oh, really good. Next year I'm going to be applying to a boarding school.
Good, you're making some moves.
Yeah. Once I joined TEAK, it really opened my eyes to the possibilities of what I could be and just overall that I could be more than I ever thought I could. A lot of my friends at TEAK really push each other and push me. We're all trying to look out for each other, and you know that these are the people who are really going to stick with you for the rest of your life. Usually come to TEAK on Saturdays and Fridays after school. We have science, math, history, and Shakespeare. It's a lot of classes and hard work and homework that we have to get through.
Professional environment where the house goes dark, the lights shine up. You just feel the audience where you have the world in your hands for a second. To empower a kid who finds their confidence through well-written language and just through the values and the skills that you have to learn as a performer are everything.
Today, I need your focus, I need your attention, but I also need you guys to have fun.
We did The Winter's Tale at Theater for the New City.
It was just kind of hectic and a lot of kids didn't really want to, stand still. Everyone, was on their nerves, scared.
Bring those nerves, bring that fear, bring everything, and let it out all on stage. All right, guys?
I see so much of myself in those kids. Middle school, this age, is where life just starts changing. You start becoming who you are. So every decision right now is so big, whether they know it or not, and their lives are going to change.
TEAK believes that we're all going to play a big role in our society and a big role in our community, and a lot of the time that means that we're going to have to speak or do speeches in front of a lot of other people. That's what I take Shakespeare.
I, that please some, try all, both joy and terror that makes and unfolds error. Now take it upon me, the name
It's letting us explore how we express ourselves, and it's really a good way to let us break out of our shell.
That lesson that beauty can come out of struggle and good things can happen out of bad situations. That is The Winter's Tale. The next generation changes the narrative.
Your foot. Oh my god, never mind. Bring your foot up. Thank you.
A lot of TEAK followers will tell you that they would not have imagined for Shakespeare to be as fun and as relevant to our world as it is. But Malik doesn't only teach us how to get our points across and how to understand the language. He teaches us how to connect these themes to our world and our politics.
For this momentous occasion in the history of the TEAK Fellowship, we selected one of Shakespeare's most famous history plays, Henry V. Now, we adapted a shorter piece out of it. And in your class, In your program, there's a little blurb about the context, but the main game is this. The English in this story are the underdogs. And when you hear all the references to England, think our TEAK fellowship. And with these underdogs, with the support of quality folks like you, become inspired warriors. So, without further ado, we would like to present to you the Shakespeare squad of TEAK Fellowship performing Warrior Scholars.
Fire, thou descend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment.
But pardon and gentles all, the platinum raises spirits that have dared on this worthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France, or may we cram within this wooden O at the very cast that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a quicker figure may attest and little place a million.
And let us, ciphers this great account on your imaginary forces work. Supposed within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the narrow perilous ocean parts asunder.
Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts into 1,000 parts to divide one man and make imaginary poisons. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them, printing their proud hooves like the receiving earth. For it is your thoughts and our stecker kings, carrying them here and there, jumping over times.
Turning the accomplishment of many years, and many course to his history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
The king is full of grace and fair regard,
And the true lover of the church.
the courses of his youth promised it not. The breath no sooner left his father's body, but that his wildness, mortified in him, seemed to die too. Yea, at that very moment, consideration like an angel came and whipped the offending Adam out of him, leaving his body as a paradise to envelop and contain celestial spirits. Never was such a sudden scholar made, never came reformation in a flood. With such heady currents, scouring faults, nor never hydra-headed willfulness so soon did lose his seat, and all at once, as in this king.
We're blessed in the change.
Hear him but reason in divinity, and all admiring with an inward wish. You would desire the king were made a prelate. Hear him debate of commonwealth affairs, you would say it hath been in all his study. List his discourse of war, and you shall hear fearful battle rendered you in music. Turn him to any cause of policy, the Gordian knot of it he will unloose, familiar as his garter, that when he speaks the air, a chartered libertine is still. And the mute wonder lurketh in men's ears to steal his sweet and honeyed sentences, so that the art and practic part of life must be a mistress to the hysteric. Which is a wonder how his grace should glean it, since his addiction was to course his vein, his companies unlettered, rude, shallow, his hours filled with riots, banquet sports, and never noted in him any study, any retirement, any sequestration from open haunts and popularity.
The strawberry grows underneath the nettle. The wholesome berry thrives and ripens best nearby fruit of base quality. So the prince obscured his contemplation, and in the veil of longness, which no doubt grew like sungrass, fast as one night, unseen yet contrived in his faculty.
It must be so, for miracles are ceased, and therefore we needs must admit the needs, how things are perfected.
Thus, then, in few, your highness lately sending it to France did claim some certain dukedoms in the right, of which your great predecessor, King Edward III. The prince says that you savor too much of your youth, that can be with a nimble, galliard one. You cannot roll into dukedoms there.
He therefore sends you, meter for your spirit, this ton of treasure, and in lieu of this, desires you let the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you. This, the Dauphin speaks.
What treasure, uncle?
Tennis balls, my liege.
We are glad this Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His presence in your pains, we thank you for. For when we marched our rackets to these balls, we will in France, by God's grace, place set shall strike his father's crown into hazard. Tell him he hath made match with such a wrangler that all the courts of France will be disturbed with chastise. And we understand him well, how he come o'er us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. We never valued this poor seat of England, and therefore, living hence, we did give ourselves to barbarous licenses, as 'tis ever common, that men are married when they are from home. But tell that Dauphin I will keep my state, be like a king and show my sail of greatness, for when I do rouse me in my throne in France, for that I've laid by my majesty and plotted like a man for working days. But I will rise there with such a glory that will dazzle all the eyes of France, yet strike that Dauphin blind to look at us. And tell that pleasant prince that mock of his, and turned his balls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand so charged for the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them.
This was a merry message.
We hope to make the sender blush in it. Therefore, my lords, admit no happy hour that may give furtherance to our expedition. For now we have no thought of us but France, save those to God that run before our business. Therefore, let our proportions for these wars be soon collected, with all things thought upon that may with reasonable swiftness add feathers to our wings. For God before will chide this Dauphin at his father's door. Therefore let every man now task his thought that this fair action may on foot be brought.
Now the youth of England are on fire, and the silken dalliance in the wardrobe lies. Now thrive the armor's honors thought reigns solely in the breast of every man. They sell the pasture now to buy the horse, following the mirror of all Christian kings. With winged heels as English Mercury's, pronounces expectations in the air, and hides a sword from hilts onto a point, with crowns imperial and crowns and cornets. Promise to Harry and his followers, the French advised by good intelligence, shaking their fear with pale and palsy. Oh, England, model of thy inward greatness, like little body with mighty heart, with Midas with thou do, and honor with thee do, or all thy children, kind and natural.
Thus, with swiftly, our swiftly flies in motion, no less celerity than that of thought. Suppose that you have seen the well-appointed king and Hampton Pier embark his royalty, and his grey fleet with the silken streamers and young seaboats standing. Play with your fancies, and in them behold the heads and tackles ship boys climbing. Hear the shrill whistle which doth order gives to sounds confused. Behold the threatened sails, borne with the invisible and creeping wind, draw huge bottoms to the furrowed sea, thrusting the lofty surge. Oh, do but think, you stand upon this rabbit and behold the city with the inconstant billows dancing. For so appears the fleet majestical, holding due course to girded our floor. Follow, follow, grapple your mind with sternage of this navy, and leave your England behind as at midnight still, guarded with grandchires, children, and old women, either past or yet not arrived to pit and fleecen. For who is he whose chin is but enriched with one appearing hair that will not follow these choice drawn and cold cavaliers to France? Work your thoughts, and there to see a sea. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded hearth floors.
Once more, onto the beach, dear friends. Once more, or close the wall up with our English dead. In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of strife blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, Disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let pride through the portage of the head like a brass cannon. Let the brow overwhelm it as fearfully as doth a galled rock. Overhang and juddy his confounded base, swelled with the wild and wakeful ocean. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide. Hold hard the breath and bend up every spirit to its full heights. On, you noblest English, whose blood, if set from fathers, are strife-proof. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you call your fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood and teach them how to strive. And you, good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the meadow of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, for there is none of you so mean and base that had not noble lustre in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge, cry God for every England and St. George!
On! To the bridge! To the bridge! Pray thee, Corporal, stay. The knocks are too hot, and for mine own part, I love the very pace of lives. The humor of it is too hot, and that's the very plain song of it.
The plain song is most just, for rumors go abound. Knocks go and come, God's vassals drop and die. In sword and shield, in bloody field, God for immortal fame.
Would I were an alehouse, I would give up all my fame for a pot of ale and safety. As young as I am, I have observed these three swashers. I employed to them, all three, but all they three, though they would serve me, could not be man to me. For indeed, three such antics do not amount to man. For Bardolph, he is white-livered and red-faced by the means whereof he faces it out, but fights not. For Pistol, he hath a killing tongue and a quiet sword by the means whereof he breaks words and keeps whole weapons. For Nymph, he hath heard that men of few words are the best men, and therefore he scorns to say his prayers, lest it should be thought a coward. For never broke any man's head but his own. And this was against the post when he was drunk. They will steal anything and call it a purchase. Barter stole Lucas, bore 12 leagues, and sold it for 3 halfpence. Nim and Barter are sworn brothers in filching, and Gala they stole a 5 shovel. And I knew by that piece of service that they would be men that carry coals. They would have me familiar with men's pockets as with their handkerchiefs and gloves, which is much against my manhood. To take from another man's pocket and put into my own for its plain pocketing of wrongs. I must leave them and seek some better service. Their villainy goes against my weak stomach, and therefore I must cast it up.
Now, entertain conjecture of a time, where creeping murmur and pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp, through the foul womb of the night, the hums of either army stilly sounds that the fixed centennials almost receive. The secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire enters fire, and through the poly flames, each battle sees the other's umbered face. Steed threatens steed in high boastful nays, piercing the night's dull air. And from the tents, armorers accomplishing knights with busy hammers, closing rivets up, give dreadful tone of preparation.
Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and over-lusty revenge, who the low-rated English play at dice, and chide the tardy cripple-gated knight, who like a foul and ugly witch doth live so tediously away. The poor, condemned English, like sacrifices by their watchful fires, sit patiently, and inly ruminate the morning's dangers, their gestures sad, investing languidly cheeks and war-worn coats presented them unto a gazing moon. So many horrid blows.
Gloucester, 'tis true that we are in great danger. The greater therefore should our courage be. There is some soul of goodness in things evil, when men observantly distill it out. But our bad neighbors make us early stirs, which is both helpful and good husbandry. Besides, there are outward conscience and preachers to us all, admonishing that we should dress us fairly for our end. Thus may we gather honey from the weed and make the moral of the devil himself.
Oh, but we now have here but 10,000 of those men in England that do no work today.
What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I'm not covetous for gold. But if it be a sin to covet honor, I'm the most offending soul alive. God's will, I will not lose so great an honor as one man more methinks would share for me for the best hope I have. Oh, do not wish one more. He which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We will not ride in that man's company that fears his fellowship to ride with us. This day is called the Feast of Anniversary. He that shall live this day and come safe home will stand and tiptoe when the name is called and rouse him at the name of anniversary. He that shall live this day and see old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbors and say tomorrow is anniversary. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars and say these wounds I had on Gala Day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgotten. But he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, John Green, Justine Stamen, and Mark Becker be their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son. An anniversary shall near go by from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he near so vile. This day shall gentle his condition, and men in England now bet shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold